All right, so let's look at this one. I have these are the data, these are the score. I have 10 of those. What I need to do is I need to fill out the table. So the steps, we're going to review the steps on how to do it. Okay, the score. So this is a table that you most likely will see on your exam. So I'm going to list out all of these score. I have 8, 4, because I write big, so this will take up all of I'm going to have to use all of them. There's 2, 7, and then I have 9. I'm going to use this one as well, 9, 4, 8, 5, okay? So if this given to you, so step number 1, because these are all the games that they play, so what we're going to do is going to find the population standard deviation. Okay, SD stands for standard deviation. P, population. Okay, step number 1, I need to find the average or the mean. We know how to do this by hand. And some of you, for the last assignment that I asked you to do, you actually use a calculator and add all of them up, which you can add all of them up, or you can list them out and the calculator will find the average for you. So I'm going to go ahead and add them up, okay? I have not done this problem, so go ahead and add them up and find the mean. You can do the work along with me. So take out a piece of paper, okay? Take out a piece of paper and do this with me. Follow the step, and then you can say, Miss Nguyen, wait, I missed this. Can you go over? Okay? So I'm going to take a long time on this problem, step by step. Pause, tell me, ask me, all right? So I'm going to do 8 plus 4 plus 6 plus 6 plus 7 plus 7 plus 9 plus 4 plus 8 plus 5. Okay, the total is 64, and then I have 10 games, so I divide by 10. So the average is 6.4. That's the mean. The n, when they ask for n, that means how many data that's given to you. The data, what I mean by data, is the values that are given to you. The list that they gave you, that's called the data. In this case, I have 10. I count 10. Am I always divide by 10? No. You have to go back and look at how many numbers I'm given to you. If I gave you 9, then my n is 9. Okay? If I'm giving you 20, then my n is 20. So that's how you determine n. So I'm going to write right here. N is how many, so n is how many numbers that I gave you, okay? So n is how many data was given, okay? So in this case, the 10 games, I have 10 numbers. Okay, so that's step 1. Questions so far? No. If I gave you the long one, then I will ask you to do it by using a calculator or Google Sheet. The one that I ask you to do by hands, at most, are 10 numbers. At most. 9 or 10 number at most. And I'm not going to give you like a really big number. So I'm thinking about, maybe I'm talking about like your test score or whatever, like, but at most it's 10. So I'm not going to give you like big value, like really, really big values. Okay. All right, step 2. Step 2 is that I'm going to take the values given to me and subtract with the mean. So I'm going to take this value, 8, take away the average, which is 6.4, okay? That would give me, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract 8 So I'm going to do step 2 and step 3 at the same time. That way I don't have to go back and retype my value. So when I do A minus 6.4, I got I got 1.6. So 1.6, what I do with this value, I'm going to square it. So I'm just go ahead and square it right away. That will give me 2.56. So for today, I'm actually going to do the whole table, okay? So bear with me. Like I said, if you know what to do, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and finish up on your own, but you don't, just follow the step, okay? I'll do the next one. 4 minus 6.4. Okay, so 4 minus 6.4, what I have negative 2.4. Notice I put this number in parentheses and then square it. Okay, so this will give me 5.76. So I'm going to tell you right now, the third step, the third column, you should not get a negative answers. When you square a negative number, it will give you positive numbers, okay? I also recorded this notes right now, which I will post. So if you miss anything, you can always watch that video, okay? All right, next one, I'm doing the 6 minus 6.4. So this is going to be 0.4 square. Okay. That give me 0.16. Okay. So I will continue to do all of them. One thing is that if I have the same numbers, I don't need to do the steps again. I know this is 6. So I know it's going to be 1.6. Okay, let's do 7. 7 minus 6.4. 7 minus 6.4. That's going to be 0.6. Square it. 0.36. No, yes, for what you do is you take the value as given to you and subtract 6.4. You do that for all of them. But over here, you see this 6 is the same as the 6 on the top. So that way, I don't subtract that right away. I'm just going to use the same values for the first 6, right? They should share the same values. That's why this number right here, I kind of skips the step in between. Because it's the same values, I should get the same number, right? So if you subtract, if I square it should give me the same number. So it's okay. If you get the same number, then you can just go ahead and skip the step. So the same thing right here. You see how I have 7 again? I can go ahead and skip a bunch of steps that I know is going to be 0.36. Okay. Then I will do for 9. I know this long, but we can do it. 9 minus 6.4. That gave me 2.6 square. That gave me 6.76. Okay. Any question, please let me know. Yes, X is not 6.4. X is the score, the list that I gave you. 6.4 is the average, the mean. Other question? Okay. The Khan Academy is due Thursday, on the day of the summative. But for today, if you have time to do it today or see me during our office hours, you should be able to finish earlier. But it's due Thursday, okay? All right, I'm going to do the next one. You can put the question and I will look at the chat and respond to you, okay? So hold on, I need to change. So 4 minus 6.4, this one a little bit hard to see, but minus 6.4, that gives you negative 2.4 square. Oh, I already have 4 on the top. I didn't pay attention, which I can just copy that down. It should be 5.76. So if you run into the same number, then you don't have to worry about redo it. You can just copy the numbers, okay? Doing the next one. Ezra, you subtract 1 and minus 1 when I'm asking you to find the sample standard deviation. If I ask you to find population standard deviation, then you don't need to subtract 1, okay? All right, so I can do for the next one, which is 8. Again, for this number, it's repeated, right? I already have 8 on the top, so I don't need to redo it. I can just go ahead and copy the number from the top, which is 2.56. The 5 is new, so I have to do it. So again, if you run into the same number, then go ahead and copy from what you got earlier, okay? 5 minus 6.4, that gives me negative 1.4 squared, 1.96. So I have step 1, step 2, and step 3. Questions so far for those 3 steps? All right, I would do step number 4. Step number 4, I'm going to write down here because I run out of space. Normally, I will give you a table that you should have enough space, but I write big, and then this table is too small. Whoops. So what I would do, step 4, step 4 is I'm going to find the total from step 3. That is mean I'm going to add all the values that I just squared. I'm going to add all of them. Okay, so I'm going to use my calculator. I'm going to add them up. So 2.56 plus 5.76 plus 0.16 plus 0.16. What happened? What did I do? Okay. Hold on. I make a mistake here. It should be this one should be 0.16, not 1.6. Okay. And then I will move on to plus 0.36, plus 0.36, plus 0.676, plus 5.76, plus 2.56, plus 1.96. So for step 4, if I add them up, that give me 26.4. Okay. Step 5 is that I'm going to take the total, which I just added up. I'm going to use this number, divide by n. In this case, because we talk about population standard deviation, so I don't subtract 1. If I'm asking you to find the sample standard deviation, then n minus 1, okay? N minus 1 is for the sample standard deviation. So in this case, the n that we talked earlier is 10. So this would give me 2.64. Step 6, square root of step 5, which is 2.64. So let's see what I got. Whoops. Square root of 2.64. This give me I'm going to do it 2 decimal place, okay, for the summative. 2 decimal place. 6, 2. So that is my answer. N minus 1, if I'm asking to find the sample standard deviation, but in this problem, I have all the gains. So for this one, I'm asking for the population standard deviation, so I don't need to minus 1. Okay, for those been asking me that question because you get confused on do I minus 1 or no? Okay, only minus 1 if I ask you have to pay attention to the questions. Is this a sample standard deviation or population standard deviation? Those are the two things, okay? But I'm going to tell you right now, for the test, the summative, I'm going to ask you to find population standard deviation so you don't have to subtract 1. How I got 26.4? To get 26.4, I add all the values from the third column right here. I add them up. I add these values. Okay. So that's how I find standard deviation. Other question for me on these steps. Again, if you need to go back, like I said, I'm recording this right now. So you should be able to go back and watch the videos as well. How do I get step 6? Okay, so step 4, I add every number from step 3, which I got 26.4. Because I have 10 values, so for step 5, I divide by 10, okay, which give me 2.64. And then to do step 6, I took the values that I just divide by 10 right here. I'm taking square root of it. So I'm taking square root of that. That gave me 1.6248 is like a long number, but I want you to round to 2 decimal place. So on the summative, 2 decimal place, okay? And that's how I got 1.62. And my answer, the standard deviation, is this one, 1.62. Okay. All right. Other questions? Now it's good time. It's okay. Don't feel like, my gosh, I should not ask that question. It's just ask me questions, okay? For this not assignment, you missed what I said, like the how to do to get to step 6, or I don't. Oh. The last one I said, I just went over how to go over step number 6, which is I find the total for step 4, and then I took that values divide by 10 because I have 10 values. I got 2.64, and to get to step 6, I took square root of it. And then for the summative, I want you to round to do 2 decimal place, okay? 2 decimal place. So what happened is on the summative, when you square or you subtract, you end up with a lengthy number. Just round to 2 decimal, okay? 2 decimal place. That's what you want to remember for the summative. Okay. Right. If you want some extra practice, on this page, I look at this one. You can do this one. There's a bunch of values. You can practice do by hand. Those are the things, right? Again, for this one, you can practice using population standard deviation, which you don't have to subtract 1. So just go and divide by 1. Okay. But I'm not required to do this one. That's just the extra practice. If you need some practice to do it, and you can check in with me. Okay. So what I will do is I'm going to do the same problem with the same problem, but I'm going to show you how to do it using calculator and Google Sheet. For now, I'm going to use how to do Google Sheet first, okay? And then you would do calculator later. So any question before I'm going to show you how to do Google Sheet? I need you to open the Google Sheet right now if you know how. Okay. All right.